Clarissa, you broadcast on Facebook Live as well, right? Okay. What is it? It's UL Jobs Network, right? We good? I can go. Thanks everyone for tuning in today for the Urban League's Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series. Today, we will have Bianca Jackson speak about defining your goals and sticking to them. This will be sponsored by Tyson's Foods. So stay tuned for the entire web's event, because at the end, Piper Anderson will come on and share some hot opportunities with Tyson's Foods. But more importantly right now, we're going to speak about defining your goals. I'm really excited about this. My name is Kenneth L. Johnson. I'm president and diversity recruiter at East Coast Executives, also host of the Career Seekers Radio Show on WPPM 106.5 in Philly, but Google Learning Center facilitator at the Google Learning Center here in Manhattan as well. So having goals is a really important thing for me. I had the pleasure of speaking to Miss Jackson, Bianca Jackson, last week, just to kind of talk about what was going on today and what she was thinking about presenting on. And it left me really excited. I really honestly believe that we're here based on some of the decisions we make and some of the goals we've set, right? And with that being said, I received a message maybe about 30 days ago, and it was Maria Soles Belazari. She's the founder of Latinos Run. And she said, wow, there's 90 days left to this decade. What will be your goals for the next decade? And how did you feel you did in the past decade? So I was like, all right, you know what? Before I answer that question, I got to sit on this series with Bianca Jackson. So let's speak about it real quick. Bianca Jackson is a storyteller, personal branding consultant, and event venue owner based in Baltimore, Maryland. Her background in tech, digital marketing, and diversity and inclusion has landed her in associated projects a Pulitzer Prize. She has 40,000 followers on LinkedIn, coveted speaking opportunities at events such as South by Southwest, Digital Summit Philadelphia, and Tech Inclusion New York. Her work has been featured in such publications as Forbes, The Washington Post, and Tech Republic. She comes to you through the Black Speakers Network, so we're really excited to have her. And then in our conversation, I found out that Miss Bianca Jackson, principal consultant at Jax Digital, is originally from North Philadelphia, so that made me feel really good. She's a homegirl. So Bianca, what's going on? How's everything?
I am great. Like, you're giving me so much life and so much energy over here. So thank you very much.
We need your energy, that big smile and everything. Listen, if you're watching this on Facebook, please take the time to like and share. It's not too late for people to join in on the conversation. And like I mentioned, this is sponsored by Tyson Foods. So we have some opportunities that will be presented at the end of the webinar. So send your questions in, tune in, share it, invite people. But right now, I'm going to just leave this to Bianca Jackson to talk about goal setting.
All right, so I'll bring up the presentation. All right, so hopefully everyone can see it just fine. So we are here to talk about how to turn your can'ts into cans and how your dreams into plans. So let's do this. All right, so I'm going to share with you guys my 5-step process to goal setting and sticking to it. So I know a lot of people have this problem, kind of like you said, for the last decade, you're trying to, recall what goals you set out to. Hopefully you're able, or you have accomplished most of the goals that you set out for yourself. But if you haven't, there's still some time left in this decade to do it. And you'll get some really helpful tips here today. So why are you here? Now, there will be a poll that'll show up for everyone. So I want to know why you're here. I really want to make sure that I give you really actionable advice, things that you can do right now, whenever you leave the webinar, or even while you're on the webinar, to make sure that you actually accomplish your goals. So, are you here because, you have a hard time accomplishing your goals? Are you here because your goals are so big that you doubt that you'll ever attain them? Or, are they really, you don't really make goals, you make wishes. So which one do you fall in, which category do you fall into? I don't know, Ken, which category are you?
Let's see. I would believe that, so I think it's number one. I have a hard time accomplishing the goals. My goals are really big, so it's a process, right? So like
Right.
I set things out there that I know it's going to take me some time to accomplish. So I'm not going to say I haven't been successful in accomplishing the goals, but I always revisit them and then set them further out so I can keep kind of moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, for me, so everyone, a lot of people agree with you. They have a hard time accomplishing their goals. For me, I have this problem where I set the goal and I think automatically tomorrow it should be done. I have that hard time with just being patient and just seeing, it come to fruition in the time that it's supposed to. So, okay, good. So thanks everyone for participating. So did you know that 92% of people who set New Year's goals never actually achieve them? So if that's you, you can leave it in the comments. There's no judgment here, no judgment whatsoever. What'd you say, Ken?
A judgment-free zone?
Judgment-free zone is totally okay. But what we're going to talk about here today is how you can get yourself out of that 92% and be the exception, that 8%, right? So if that's you, put it in the comments that, you have a hard time actually achieving the goals you set out for yourself in New Year's. So what if I told you you really could lead yourself down a path of accomplishing your goals? Now, what I'm going to talk about is going to probably blow your mind a little bit. It's going to be, almost like this matrix-like approach, but I think it's something that, if you take it to heart and really start practicing, you'll find that you'll accomplish more things a whole lot faster. So let's just say you're having a conversation today, talking to your 2020 self about what your 2021 self wants. Now, I know that is mind-blowing. So let me try to break this down for you. How many of you have ever said, let's just say this is 2019. You said, if you could go back to your 2017 self and basically say, hey, this is where I want to go, and you could have directed yourself down that path, you would do it, right? So today we're going to do that. We're going to talk about those dreams, the goals that you want to accomplish in the next few years. And what do you need to change now to make sure that you actually get there? And you got to hold yourself accountable. So I will definitely walk you through this, or how I do it and how I keep myself accountable and how I acknowledge what I think and what I feel about what I've accomplished, how I set up this community around me. So I'm going to give you this really simple acronym for you to remember so that you can actually get this thing moving for yourself. So I know that a lot of you have these really big goals. I want you to keep yourself on track, but then also get other people to help you be accountable for those things. So I just want to start off just a little bit, telling you a little bit about myself. So why you should listen to me. So I am Bianca J. Jackson. Like Ken said, I'm a storyteller. I'm a branding consultant. In a short amount of time, I've accomplished some really great things and amazing things. And sometimes I'm really amazed by the things that I accomplished, but they all start with me writing them down. I start with, really having an idea of what I want to do, and I'll break it down individually. And like Ken said, my background is IT. So I come from a very structured planning type place. And now I'm moving more into this visionary place, this more artistic space. So, you know, I own an event venue that's an art gallery meeting space in Baltimore, which I never thought I would. But, you know, me writing down my goals and following the process that I'm about to share with you helped me do that. Me following this process helped me get on some really big stages around the US. So I want to be able to share that with you today.
Bianca, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So do you have a particular platform that you use to track your goals? Like, I know you're a techie, so do you have some type of digital, I don't know, something more than an Excel spreadsheet that allows you to kind of track the progress of your goals?
Well, one of my good friends just put me onto something called like AnyDo. So it's like a task list. So it helps people kind of like stay accountable day by day.
Okay.
But for me, if you were to look around my space, I have big post-it notes on the wall. So it's kind of like Mary Jane on steroids, where I just put up so the goals and things that I want to accomplish so that I see them every day. I start internalizing them. Sometimes I put pictures on my phone as my screensaver of the thing that I want to accomplish, let's say in the next month or the next quarter or the next year, so that I'm always looking at, you know how many times we look at our phone a day?
Yes.
Too many.
I do that as well. I have a picture, a screen saving picture on my phone that basically is a goal that I have for the next 2 years.
Okay. Do you want to share what that picture is?
There's a building that I want to move into, and it's a picture of the building.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to position myself to every day kind of think about that and move in that direction. No pun intended.
No, I think it's great. And actually what I wound up doing with the building that I bought, it took a long time to actually buy it. And in the process of like doing all the paperwork, I would come to the building and like rub my hand on the door.
Wow.
Yeah, like I did that for months until I actually got the key. So
you were treated like a crystal ball.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like when you start committing to your mind and you start saying that this is the thing that you want, you start actively working to it. And sometimes you subconsciously are doing things to get the thing that you want, right? And I think even there's a YouTube series, Crazy Faith, where the guy talks about buying some really big sports building in some city for a church. And he talked about how he just started off with a flyer and a picture of it, and people thought he was crazy, but they wound up buying the building. So I would say I'll talk about that in the presentation, but you got to have some type of visualization or even written down of what you want to accomplish. So I'm glad that you have that as your screensaver on your phone.
Excellent. I'll let you know when I move in.
All right, good. Well, you better invite me. All right, so this acronym, and if everyone remembers, this went viral early this summer, the whole idea of it's above me. So if you don't quite remember, this is about a gentleman who worked at a hotel. A potential customer did something that he didn't like, and then he got permission to say, you know, to not help them, that it was above me. I want you to kind of repurpose this mantra, this acronym of saying it's above me, where you're kind of like looking forward, you're looking ahead to what your future self wants, so that you do all the things that you need to do now, so that you are disciplined, that you are faithful, and you are humble to where you want to go, and you don't let anybody distract you, right? So I want you to internalize it's above me now as something that you want to use as your compass, your guiding star, your North Star to get where you want to go. So so I want you guys to take notes because I know you're going to have tons of questions after this.
Yes.
So I want you to affirm how you feel and what you think, especially about 2019, right? I want you to write it down. If you have a piece of paper, you have a pen. I think this is the part that a lot of people don't really do when it comes to goal setting. It's like really just being real with yourself of like how you feel you did this year. What do you think about how you did this year? Did you actually accomplish your goals? Did whatever you accomplished help you or hurt you, right? Really sit with that. And this is an exercise, A and B specifically, or something that you do alone. You do not go ask other people for their feedback of what you did well, what you didn't do well. I think that when it comes to clarity, it's really important that we are in tune of what we actually want, what's going to serve our greatest good, and also be helpful to our family members, the things that we want to do for like our children, our parents, our grandparents, sisters, brothers, cousins, all those things, your community. Like what is it that you want to give out to the world, and how did that make you feel, and how did you think about it, right? So did you really accomplish what you were looking for, right? So that's just A, all by yourself, getting total clarity. Hopefully everyone got that. Got it, Ken? Okay. So the next thing, B. Now this is going to take some willpower. This is going to take some imagination. This is going to take some vision. You got to believe in what's possible, right? So like Ken said, he has a picture of the building on his phone. I had I came to the building that I wound up buying, and I came there consistently because I believed in the ability of me buying a commercial building as a single Black woman. That, right, we don't normally get to do that, but I was able to do it, right? It took a lot of help, but I got there, right? One of the things that I think is really helpful, a lot of people do vision parties, vision boards, do all of that, right? Anything that's going to help you visually see it, write it down, commit it to memory. So write a list, post it on a wall, post it on the mirror, make it a wallpaper on your phone, cut out pictures of places and things that you want to accomplish, you want to somehow manifest as a part of your goal setting. You really have to be able to see it, because what they say, if you can't envision it, you can't see it, you can't achieve it, right? If you can't honestly see yourself sitting in that building, right? Sitting at the closing table, signing the paperwork, handing over, X thousands of dollars to buy a building or to lease a building, right? If you can't see yourself in that six-figure job, if you can't see yourself as a C-level executive or even a mid-level exec, like whatever it is, you have to be able to see yourself do it. And that's where clarity and just really sitting alone by yourself to really put those things together for, I don't know, your future, like whatever that plan is. It's like I'm getting excited just trying to explain it to people, because I get excited when I do this for myself, and I kind of talk to other people about it, right? So then when we go to O, now a lot of people, this is going to be new for some people. There are a lot of people out here trying to accomplish goals on their own, and I'm going to tell you one of my favorite proverbs. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I always believe in having a guide. You're going to go really far when you can have someone who has already done the thing that you're doing, or are already in the place, or they're kind of like going along with you, right? You're able to learn from each other. So I want you to find an accountability partner, some type of coach. Now, for those of you who are Star Wars fans, you know that Luke had Yoda and he had Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And if you ain't, a part of the Star Wars era, and you're more like millennial-ish, in Hunger Games, Katniss had Haymitch, right? These were guides for these characters. They had a challenge, they had something that they had to do, and they had a goal, right? And they only were able to accomplish their goal with the help of a guide. Now, I know there's a lot of people probably looking around like, I don't know who to ask. I don't know who's going to be my mentor. Just ask somebody. Make sure it's someone who's already accomplished the thing that you're trying to do, or they're kind of like going along with you and they can be supportive, right?
I was going to ask that question of you. So like an accountability partner, does it have to be someone that has achieved pretty much what it is that you're looking to achieve? Or can you just kind of pick somebody that you admire? Like how's that work?
Yeah, I would say you could do both, right? I think it almost depends on what type of motivation you need or inspiration, right?
Yes.
So if you're the person that's just like, all right, I need a cheerleader, right? They don't have to do the thing that I'm doing, because what I'm doing is so unique that I don't know nobody who's like that, right? And then also you could use LinkedIn to find a potential coach or a partner or something like that, someone who's done the thing that you're trying to do. But I always say that whatever coach or accountability partner you have, you want somebody who's positive, who's motivating, but also someone who's real. Someone's going to tell you the truth and not sugarcoat things for you. Like if you're going completely off the rails, you want someone to be able to help bring you back, right? So like a really great example was in Hunger Games, when Katniss was, giving all types of attitude to the people watching, and Haymitch had to tell her, like, look, you got to play to the audience. Like, you got to get them to love you to get them to give you what you need. Having a guide can definitely help you avoid those pitfalls, especially if you don't have one. So I hope that was really helpful. Ken, did you ever have a guide or accountability partner along your career?
So accountability partner would probably be my father, because
Okay.
he was really good at pointing out the things that can go wrong, right? So
Right.
like you would present something and he'd give you information on either why he thought that maybe you were doing it the wrong way, or why he thought you might not be successful in that. So some of that was motivational for me, because I'm like, I'm going to prove him wrong, right? Uh, but
Right.
but a lot of it was it all was coming from love. Like he was just trying to prepare me for some of the pitfalls that may come with that. And then outside of him, I had another person in my life who had actually done the thing that I was looking to do. And I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to work with him for a few years. But when I decided to go out on my own, he still served as a person that I would circle back to with questions consistently. So yeah, I've been fortunate enough to have some great accountability partners and coaches along the way.
That's good. And then for me, my background is tech. And, for anyone who knows anything about the tech industry, in general, women represent maybe like 25% of the employees in tech. And luckily for me, most of my accountability partners and coaches have been women in tech. So I learned so many great and amazing things from being a consultant, and they're telling me like how to work, not how to leverage the system to better get better paying consulting gigs, and how to pick companies, how to pick teams, and just, how to grow and develop as an employee. And it was like invaluable experience, because people always say that, sometimes that women don't support women in corporate environments. And that has not been my experience. So like, I just want to say, like, just find somebody, even someone in your personal network, in your professional network. And if you can't find anybody there, look on LinkedIn to find your next accountability partner or coach.
So you know what? That brings up a few questions though, because I see that there's a gentleman. His name is Kent, and he was asking, how do we find the right person while we're looking to do things on our own? So
Yes.
so it sounds like he's trying to do something that maybe, and I guess for you, because tech, it's not a new space, but it changes so frequently. So sometimes there may not be someone who's already done this because it's so new, right? So how do you find people that you can kind of tap into when you're doing something that maybe they're not familiar with?
Well, then I would say, if you're trying to find someone who may not be familiar with what you're doing, find someone who's at least a visionary,
Oh,
right? Who sees the potential, even if they may not understand the whole thing, that could, ask you really probing questions, so that you start looking at what you're doing differently,
sure.
right? So, for example, when I was working at USA Today, I was assigned to like the emerging tech team, and I had no idea, virtual reality, augmented reality. I was like, I don't know, what is this? So I went in like full research mode of trying to find other women of color who were in the space. And unfortunately, I found some stuff that I didn't like, but eventually I started to stumble onto the community. It just took me a little bit of time.
Gotcha.
Just because you can't find someone immediately doesn't mean that they are not out there. They aren't out there. You just got to dig a little bit deeper, or look at the people that you are finding and start asking them questions. What I really enjoyed about being at USA Today was that my team was very diverse. So we had people of all ethnic backgrounds, men and women. And, being a Black woman in an emerging tech space, and like on an R&D team, when I interfaced with the different team members, they were always very receptive.
Gotcha.
So they would point me into different directions of things to check out, other programs to find funding for products, because I was trying to work on something on my own. And it's just like, you need to start sharing with other people what you're working on, even if you don't want to give it all away. Don't be afraid that someone's going to steal your idea. But you could find your next mentor, your next accountability partner, just by sharing your passion.
Gotcha.
And people get excited just because you're excited. They're like, well, I might not be able to help you, but I can put you in connection with this other person, and that's what you want.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're in such an incredible time now, because there are platforms like LinkedIn that are really set up for that type of experience. When we spoke Friday, and we spoke a little bit about how you can leverage even a tool like LinkedIn to kind of find people in your space that may be able to support and assist you.
Right. And it's so funny you say that because I remember our conversation. You were like, oh, yeah, I checked you out on social media and this and that. And it made our conversation that much smoother and made me interested in you because I saw you checking me out. And then you had way more interesting questions to ask me. So I would say if you can't find anyone specifically in your personal network, definitely go to LinkedIn to go find somebody who could help be an accountability partner or coach for you.
Yeah.
All right. So, V. Now, this might get some people in a lot of trouble, but that's okay. That is totally okay. Sometimes we have people around us in our communities that just really can't help us get to where we need to go and helping us achieve our goals. So sometimes you got to vet a new community. I'm going to tell you that you need to take the action of surrounding yourself with people who have goals of their own so that they're just as motivated to accomplish their goals, but then they can give you insight on how they actually accomplish your goals. I mean, Ken, how many times have you been around people and you call them up and say, hey, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, nothing, chilling, right? Yeah. You call them back a week later, what are you doing? Oh, nothing, chilling. And they're like, well, what do you got going on? You're like, man, I just came back from this conference. I just did this radio show. I just did this, right? Then a month later, you call them and you say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just chilling. Like, how much chilling is there, right? You laughing, but I'm serious, right? And then what starts to happen, Ken? You start talking to that person less because all they're doing is chilling. And right. You start talking to the people who are just as busy as you. You're like, even if you can't catch up with them for a month, 2 months, a quarter, even 6 months, you're happy when you do catch up with them because one, you know that they're actually doing something productive with their time. They're out there trying to, kill these goals, trying to get the building that's on their wallpaper, right? But then they're also really helpful to you and your network because as people are building, achieving goals and they're meeting other people, they're building their professional community, they're building their personal community, they then can refer other people for your community. And that's one of the things that I found is that a lot of my friendships have changed over the last couple of years because I've moved more into entrepreneurship. And I started to build these new communities of other entrepreneurs. And then for my personal network where people weren't really accomplishing any goals, we start talking less and we start talking less and we start talking less because I can't be sucked into the drama, the nothingness. Like I watch Power, but I don't want to talk a whole, an hour about Real Housewives, right? I got stuff to do, right? So I'm gonna say this to anybody out there who's serious, who's watching this, who are like, you know what, for 2020, I'm about to kill this. You need to go find a new community of other people who feel the same way or like they want to kill 2020 and like really have it be the year that's gonna be their breakout year. I mean, like you said, it's the start of a new decade. When someone said that to me recently, I was like, holy crap. Like, you are absolutely right. We're leaving one decade and we're going into a new one. And not only that, we're leaving a year and we're going into a new year. And someone told me that, sometimes if you start a decade a certain way, you're bound to kind of like repeat the same mistakes over for the next 10 years. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to say for everyone who's watching this, go find your new community. You have a couple more months to do it to kind of get you straight for 2020. Because like you want to be around people who are making money, right? Because you want to make money. You want to be around people who are doing well at work so you can do well at work, right? You want to be around people who are growing their personal networks. Then you got to be, one of those people who's growing your personal networks. Like wherever you want to go, you got to start surrounding yourself with those people. Ken, have you started to see like your network change over the years?
It's changed dramatically. And I'll say for the better, but I've placed myself in situations. This actually will lead us right into a question that someone had because they were saying, I was looking, and I don't know the individual's name. I need to find it here. But they basically were asking a question saying, as adults, it's harder to kind of find and forge new relationships because people don't really take on a lot of new friends as adults. It's not like you're in college or anything like that where that's the goal. But I don't know if I agree with that. I think
I don't agree with it either.
Your activity will probably lead to some great relationships. Like from this today, you're on my radar now. So I'm going to be calling and having conversations with you. Right. You might be one of my accountability partners, but that's just how it works. I think there's ways to kind of network through.
Right. No, and I absolutely agree. I don't agree that it's harder to make friends. Is sometimes it's easier depending on where you look, right? So for instance, I'm an introvert and a lot of people don't believe me when I say that. Like
I don't
I,
believe you when you say
I,
that.
I am. I am. So I use LinkedIn to my advantage. So what I do is I post stuff that I like, things that I like attending, and also find other events and other people that I want to talk to. And then I start my conversations from there. Now, I can kind of assess really quickly, like if somebody's kind of weird or like if they're like super cool and I want to find out more, then I start building the relationship. So like, for example, there was one summer where I just wanted to get to know the people that I was connected to on LinkedIn, right? So there was a woman that I found that was a dancer. Like she did like cultural dance. She did a lot of like research. She took her practice and theories of dance, of like how she put dances together and how she choreographed them, and then turned that into becoming a UX researcher for tech.
Oh, wow.
Right. So when she explained her whole process to me and how she did it, she's like, basically, it's the same thing. You talk to the people of where you're from, right? Or wherever the dance is from. You learn the cultural significance of it, any religious semblance or whatever. And then you do the dance with respect. She's like, you take the same type of principles and you apply it to digital products. You interview your end users, right? You find out what motivates them as far as behavior and all this other stuff, and then you create something that speaks to how they naturally use things. And I was like blown away, right? So that happened 2 years ago, and I just continually building the relationship with her. So guess what happened? We wound up co-presenting at a conference this year.
Okay.
And it took 2 years to get to that point, but it made the conversation a whole lot easier because I would have never encountered her anywhere if it wasn't for like LinkedIn, right? So that's one way that I build friends as an adult. And also because social impact, social justice is really important to me, I go to events like that, right? So
Okay.
then when I start encountering and crossing over other people that I continually see over and over again, then I start the conversation with them. It's like, oh, do you want to go to this together, or are you going to be at that? So, I mean, this is how you start building the community as an adult. This is how you start vetting the community. I think so many times we grow up with this whole idea that, oh, our friends that we grew up with are going to be our friends forever.
Sure.
Our family, you're going to always talk to your family. No, when you get older, your interests change. What you want to do change. Your goals evolve. It's like you got to surround yourself with people who are doing similar things to kind of help you keep motivated. So I would say don't think that it's hard to make friends as an adult because you're already setting out this barrier for yourself of like no new friends, like Drake would say. But I would say you're going to get where you want to go only through new people and new relationships that you build. Because if you were where you were, then you wouldn't have to add anyone new to your circle.
That question came from Case Skiles, but also just real quick, Courtney.
Yeah.
Courtney asked a really interesting question.
Okay.
When is it time for goals to cross from major to unrealistic? Like what is that all about? Like, can a goal be a major goal and then it just turns into an unrealistic goal?
Well, what's crazy about that? The first thing that came to mind was 2 Chainz, right?
Okay.
2 Chainz was what, 35 when he rebranded? I don't want to say what his original name was, but it wasn't good, right?
Yeah, right.
But it was 35 years old or so that he really started to pop as a rapper. And someone probably would have told him that being a rapper was unrealistic. Like he had been doing it for years, probably since he was a teenager, and that nothing happened for him. And he was probably 20 something years in the game until people started really to pay attention to him. So do I think that goals can ever get unrealistic? Potentially. But I think it's about the effort, the sweat equity you put into it, and then also your willingness to pivot the strategies that you're using in order to accomplish the goal, right? So let's just say you're a rapper. Let's not say a rapper. Let's do a more relevant example here. Like, so if you're a job seeker, right? And you just keep applying online, and it's not getting anywhere, then you know what? You need to do something different, right? So if you have the idea or you have the goal of being in the C level, right? Then maybe what you need to do is network. Maybe you need to go to executive conferences. maybe you need to find out what executives are reading, read that, and then finding people who are writing these articles. So you have to start trying different strategies to get where you're going if the strategies you're doing are not providing any results. Does that make any sense?
Makes complete sense.
Okay. So I was about to go down the rabbit hole with this the rapper example. I was getting real serious about it.
Yeah, but I do think it resonates. So yeah, we're good.
All right. So then let's cover this E right here. So this is where a lot of people fail. There's tons of people who have ideas. Everybody and their mama got an idea. But it's the people who are successful are the people who execute, and they execute relentlessly, right? So this is your action item. So work towards every goal that you have. Work towards your goals every day, even if it's something small. So let's go back to the executive. You want to be in the C level. You want to be in the cabinet. What are you doing every day to work to that goal? Are you building your network with other executives? Are you joining groups where executives are? Are you attending conferences? Are you reading the things that they're reading? Like, what are you doing every day to get to that? And like in Ken's case, right? He got the building on his phone. He can't just have the building on his phone and expect the building to fall in his lap, right?
That would be nice, though. That would be really nice if that happened.
It would be really nice, but that's not realistic, right? So, some of the things that Ken might have on his list are like, all right, so today I'm going to do some research and find out, what buildings are selling for around that building, right? I'm going to do more research to figure out alternate ways to find financing to buy the building so I don't have to use my own money, right? Or, who can I network with at the bank or at different banks to see what products and services that they have that allow me to buy the building faster, cheaper, or whatever, right? What programs does the city have that, I can knock some taxes off of it? Like, these are the things that you have to be doing every day, especially if you're really serious about buying that building. And like, even in my case, I took some of the steps that I just mentioned in buying my building. Like every day there was a conversation about, where is the money coming from? When a renovation is going to start. I started doing research. I started piling things together. I started pulling people in and having those conversations. So every day, execute relentlessly, whatever it is that your goal is. I just can't say this enough. You can dream big, but you got to execute hard. You just have to.
You know what? That takes us right into a question that Michelle had, and she wanted to know how she gets her vision narrowed down to specifics. But it sounds like you're saying start with doing the research.
Say that one more time.
So she wanted to know how she can get her vision narrowed down to specifics. So like, all right, I have this vision, but it's so big, I need to probably break it down into bite-sized chunks, possibly. What's your suggestion on people kind of getting where they're looking to go?
That's a really good question. So, of course, my project manager mind just kind of like popped in. So in project management, for anyone who's a project manager, normally what you do something called like a work breakdown, right? So you start breaking down into smaller chunks of what it's going to take to accomplish that big vision and have these little blocks underneath, right? So I would say for the young lady who asked this question, really start breaking that down. What does that mean, that vision? Like what chunks of it make up that larger thing? And then looking at those chunks, what can you execute on now? And focus on that.
Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just so crazy. I think a lot of times people have so many ideas, right? And they have this really huge vision, and then they get so stuck on like, I don't know where to start. I don't want to waste time, but I'm going to tell you, just start. Like, you just got to start somewhere, because what's going to happen is that because you have the vision, you think you know where to start. If you're not right, the market or whoever you believe in, God, whatever, higher power or whatever, something's going to tell you you're going in the wrong direction. So, or it's going to confirm that you're going in the right direction. So you just got to course correct, but don't sit with an idea and then you write it down. Then it's the next month and you still haven't done anything. It's the next quarter and you still haven't done anything. It's the next year and you still haven't done anything. And then you get mad when you see on Facebook or social media somewhere somebody did your idea. You're like, I had that idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I would say, even for me, when I first started entrepreneurship 5 years ago, my original business idea is completely different than what I'm doing now. Like, I wanted to specifically help students leverage technology for like career development and leadership development. I'm not doing anything with students directly anymore. Like, I still speak at colleges and universities, but I don't have programs for them because the market told me that there were tons of nonprofits already out there serving them. Colleges and universities were already serving them. So there were different spaces for me to operate in, and I started to pivot.
Okay.
So, but I executed every day that I was doing something towards building my company, trying to give myself freedom of using my skills to make money for myself. So you have to execute every day and just get started.
Gotcha. Excellent advice.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to say again, remember, it's all above me now. This is how you accomplish your goals. And for those of you, if you want to take a screenshot of this, again, affirm how you feel and think, believe in what's possible, outperform with the help of a guide. So go get a Hamish, go get a Yoda, go get an Obi-Wan Kenobi, go get your dad, go get the girlfriend that's just like a really big cheerleader. Just go have somebody that's going to help keep you motivated and inspired, right? You got to vet a new community. Sometimes we are surrounded with people that don't want to see us win. So you got to surround yourself with people who do want to see you win so that you stay motivated into actually accomplishing your goals. And then not only are they cheering you on, but they are working on their own goals as well. And then you can be inspired by what they're doing and potentially give you new ideas of how to pivot your business or your work or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And then don't forget this, you got to execute, and you got to execute relentlessly. You can't just have this dream. You can't just have a goal. Like, you got to have a plan with some action items. Going back to project management again, like, you got to be doing something every day, even if it's something really small as research, right? Or filling out some type of document, working on your resume, updating your LinkedIn, especially for all my career people out there. Building your network, going to a networking event, you got to be doing something every day, even if it's just researching more about your industry or where you want to go so that you become more of an expert. You have to be doing something every day.
Gotcha.
So please take a screenshot of this, the quick snap on Mac or, PC or whatever, but this is going to help you really get out of that 92% and then to that 8%, and then you'll be rocking and rolling like Ken with the ability on his phone.
Hey, listen, I have an entrepreneurship question for you that came in. It's from Joyce. Sure. She wants to know what happens when people always ask you for advice and or consultation. She believes she's ready for a consulting business, but she's worried about finding clients.
So this is what I did. I initially started off doing consultations for free, but what I found is people don't appreciate free. Let me say that one more time. And Ken, you could probably, you can add to this. People don't really appreciate free. So even if you charge something really small, whatever small is to you, so that you get people who are real serious about taking the advice that you're going to give them because they paid for it, I would suggest you do that. It could be something small. But or you could do it for free, but I'm just letting you know, when I did for free, I had my whole calendar book. Okay. And I felt like I was talking to air.
Okay.
I was talking to air, but once I start charging or, made it so that people had like an extra barrier to get to me, then I got people who were really serious about growing their businesses, advancing in their careers and stuff, because they were like, all right, I paid for this. I'm going to figure out how to make this work. So,
we have a couple questions on the board, and really I'm going to try to merge a few of them, but they were coming, and it's about, can you work on multiple goals? Can you do this simultaneously, or is it best to set a goal in a certain area and just move towards that, and then upon completion, start something else?
Here's the thing. It depends on you and your personality and what you're able to accomplish. There are some people who are like, I just need to focus on one thing. Then there are people who are like octopus. They can work on 8 things at one time. And that works for them, because if they don't, their mind gets bored. So I would say, if you're that person, go ahead and work on all the things. But if you are just like, I just need everything to go in a line, then work on one thing at a time. It really depends on your personality.
Gotcha. Let's see here. All right, so I'm just looking at some of these other questions here. I'm trying to get as many in as possible.
Okay.
Wow, great questions. You know what? Somebody said they want to be a rapper now. So you,
Listen, you got until 35 or maybe even 40 to make it happen.
all right. So they were speaking about this above philosophy that you have, right?
Yes.
So we got a question from Dara, and she wants to know, is this scientifically proven or is it just practical? I want you to answer that because I think I know where you're going to head with this.
For me, it's practical. This is what I did. So, what's really crazy is that I think maybe about 10 to 12 years ago, I wrote down 10 goals on a piece of paper. And I was at a conference and I completely forgot about it. I found it maybe like 4 years after I had already completed like 8 of the 10 goals that were there. So I took all the steps that I mentioned in this presentation to actually do that. So for me, it's practical. Science, everyone is so different, right? And then life happens and then you can be thrown off your path. I would just say you find what works for you. And this works for me. And then working with some of my clients, it worked for them. So, I mean, that's, for me, that's practical.
I get it. Man, listen, Bianca, I swear I could talk to you all day and plan on doing that one day, right? I'm going to have to come to Baltimore and hang out at the event space and take you to lunch because I think you gave some great information. And I really do believe that it's really all about leveling up and vetting a community that supports the things that you're looking to do professionally. So I think you provided some great advice today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll be in Philly, so I'll see you soon.
We can do that. I told you I want to get you on the radio show, so we're going to do this again. I love it. That's a great idea. We need to kind of pull that together. So thank you so very much. I think it is about time for us to bring Piper Anderson in from Tyson Foods so she can speak about the opportunities that exist at Tyson's Food, our sponsor today. Piper, how's it going?
Very good, very good. Bianca, great content. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to hop on here and kind of give a little bit of insight into a couple jobs here at Tyson Foods that we are actively looking for talent. Now, this may be 5 jobs, but we also have all sorts of opportunities. These are corporate-based roles that I'm going to discuss. We have opportunities all over the U.S. At our plant locations. We have multiple corporate offices across the U.S. And so I don't want to limit your interest to these 5 roles. But one of the first roles that I wanted to kind of talk through is an engineering role at our corporate office here in Northwest Arkansas. Really, this role is responsible for designing and initiating layouts of projects in our structures, buildings, environments, those kinds of things. Looking for, engineering backgrounds, educational backgrounds, as well as a couple years of experience for a role such as this. Also, another role that we have, an accounting manager role in our corporate office here in Northwest Arkansas. We are looking for someone to lead a reporting capability within our accounts payable support functions, whether that's imaging, cash disbursements, and those kinds of things, trade accounts payable, those kinds of things, and looking for, individuals with a couple years of experience as well as, education within accounting or finance, either or is preferred. The third role I wanted to call out is a senior analyst of compensation. This is an HR role within our compensation team, looking for some strong compensation experience. We are doing a lot of international work, so this could have some exposure to some of the work we're doing internationally. And implementing new compensation projects, programs, lots of different initiatives that our compensation team is working through, looking at market data and those kinds of things, looking for individuals with, really general business degrees, any financial degrees, those kinds of things. And then I'm looking for a little bit of a couple years of compensation experience, if possible. Strong analytical background would be really important for a role such as this. Another role, senior accountant within our tax group. So this is responsible for supporting company-wide compliance for state and local tax credits and incentives by working closely with internal as well as state and local governments to understand those tax credits and whatnot. Also some auditing, some tracking compliance activities in this type of role. And looking accounting background, degree, any tax experience would be great. And looking for, roughly around 4 to 5 years of experience there. And then lastly, we've got our digital marketing guru role within our IT division. Tyson IT is very transformative. If you look at some of the projects that we are doing from a technical perspective is robotics in our facilities, in our manufacturing facilities, our plant environments, on the line, looking at ways to leverage robotics from that regard. And so this role is really more around, from a marketing and sales trade perspective with Tyson, how to drive business outcomes through technology for these specific businesses here at Tyson. Very strategic. This role, requires quite a bit of experience, somewhere around, 6 to 8 years of experience, as well as some computer science and information systems degrees is what we would be looking for there. But again, as I mentioned, those are just a couple roles that we know we are actively looking at right now here at Tyson. And we've got, we've got hundreds and hundreds of jobs out there. So feel free to visit our career site to see all those opportunities. But these are just a few roles that are exciting and have big business impact for us that we wanted to share. So appreciate it.
Wow, exciting indeed. I really appreciate you coming on, Piper, sharing that information. And people can apply by going to nuljobsnetwork.com. These jobs will be posted there as well. But also, it's always a good thing to visit the Tyson site. As I had mentioned last week when we were speaking with Deb, I think you guys have one of the most interactive sites I've ever seen.
Good.
So I know you keep it updated and keep the jobs rolling. So please look into opportunities at Tyson. And thank you, Piper, for leading and spearheading the charge to sponsor the UL Jobs Network series events.
Absolutely.
It's been great. Take care. All right. So it's that time of the day where I believe we have a raffle that was going on. Am I correct? So with that being said, we will announce a raffle winner soon. And I'll kind of wait that out. All right, I'm looking through this information here. So I think I'd like to really give credit to Bianca for coming on and just expanding on goal setting. I think as we move forward into 2020, it's going to be really important that people kind of lock in right now and get an early start. I don't think there's any reason that you have to wait until New Year's to start a goal process. I think you can do it now. I really think you can do it now. So with all of that being said, I'd like to thank Miss Bianca Jackson of Jax Digital for coming out today and just supporting the UL Jobs Network Digital Career Success Series. I think she provided some outstanding information and kind of stay in tune with that above philosophy. What's really important, I think one of the things that Bianca shared that I found to be most important was that she said, really the key is to just start. I think getting started on something is the first step to kind of achieving it, right? It's a no-brainer. So kind of start and vet a new community. I thought that was really important information. We have Dara on here saying, just do it. Yeah, I definitely agree. Just do it. So I'd like to thank Bianca Jackson, the Black Speakers Network. Like to thank Tyson Foods for supporting this. My name is Kenneth L. Johnson. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me by visiting the East Coast Executives website. And also I think it would be a good idea to connect with Miss Bianca Jackson of Jax Digital. She has 40,000 LinkedIn connections, and anybody that has 40,000 LinkedIn connections, apparently they're doing some really great things. And speaking of great things, the Digital Career Success Series would like to announce that Mr. Kent Wade is the winner of the raffle today. And so he'll be receiving correspondence from the team here at the UL Jobs Network regarding winning the raffle. I'd like to thank everyone that attended. I'd also like to thank our sponsor, Tyson's Foods. And I'd like to thank the great team here at the Urban League Jobs Network. Clarissa Moses, Wanda Jackson, they do a great job of pulling all of this together, them and their team. So, but most importantly, I'd like to thank you guys. We had a great guest. We had a lot of questions, and this is the final edition for 2019, but we'll be back. So stay tuned. Just continue to check out the nuljobsnetwork.com feed, and you'll get your information. So thank you so very much for attending today, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.